Do you still think about $100 XRP? Do you still believe that's going to happen? I know it's a hard question, but in this video, I'm actually going to take you guys through reports, documents, articles, and then most reliably, all the proof of concepts and their works, which actually shows you where we are headed. So if you are a true believer and you understand that, okay, this is coming, you have done your background research, you're doing that on a regular basis now, and then you have your conclusion, because that's not just the article from 2010 we are talking about. We're talking about all the new incremental process happening in this area. And at the end, I'm going to actually take you guys through something which shows it can even be much higher than 100. But for the time being, let's just look at what this narrative is. Do we actually have that kind of demand where the price can actually reach this high? Now I'm going to actually take you guys through all of these documents, which are from the big banks. 1, 2, big payment providers worldwide. 3, the institutions like Bank of International Settlements, which is considered to be the central bank of central bank. Then going on to the World Economic Forum, all these actually give you single idea. Okay, things are happening, and as they happen, they are actually talking about central bank digital currency happening on a private ledger, and we will take you through how that's turning out. Right? There's a lot of stuff which is evolving, and you as an investor in this space, if you don't know that, FUD will just kick you out. But if you know these, now you really have a foundation on what you're standing on with your XRP bag, right? You don't want to drop that just because of the FUD people are pushing in, because you are a strong investor who understands the fundamental of why you actually bought this asset. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we talk crypto and science behind investing, because you need to know why this works and how this works. If you are here to make money, you'll really have to understand that basics. See here, what you are looking at is a possibility where the price is showing you, say for example, it's actually right now giving you that idea, what if this next candle coming up happens to be open A, it just goes up, right? That is a possibility. Why? We've talked about that in detail. Now, as you zoom out and look at the entire market, and then you come on to XRP, the question which we all ask is, do you even think the all-time highs will be touched again? I'm like, okay, all-time highs is $3.8. We are literally talking about hundreds of dollars. Now, it's not only one or two. You do have something which is confusing, something which is like, okay, things are not working in the same direction which we are thinking, because this one actually shows you nobody is actually working with Stellar Foundation for a stable coin. So now you would be confused. Nobody used the API from Ripple, but they're not using XRP. They're going on Stellar to work on this one, right? Yeah, I know the confusion will be there, but don't worry, we're going to break it down and give you the reason why this is happening. Now, that's not my opinion, which I'm going to give you. I'm going to take you through the documents from these big institutions suggesting this is going to happen. And on the other side of this, in a year, you see that's happening now. So that is what you're here for. So let's actually jump through this. Fine. Now here, this is like a question of, can this reach $100? And Hamilton actually suggests, yeah, it can one day. And based on what they are doing, they definitely believe it's going to work, right? Now, central bank digital currency, whether you agree with this or not, it's coming, and it's coming in full force. Now, Ripple is talking about a private ledger for central bank digital currencies. Do you believe in that or not? It's not the question. Is that working? Is the question. So when you come on to the CBDCs, now this is from PwC, right? Not a small institution. Now, as you go through, you get this. It is expected that the central banks will initially issue their CBDC on a permissioned or a private blockchain network. This actually means that access and control to the blockchain is limited. This is a key. Is limited to a select group of approved participants. Now we go look at how Ripple Net works. You understand that. Now we go look at the private ledger, which has been presented from Ripple's side, which is something similar to XRP ledger. It is also the same. Now we are like, okay, there is like a lot of talks. Do you really believe in that? Yeah, because now this is a research article. Now, these are not old. This is just 1 year. And research article takes time. These guys put in a lot of time to do that process. Now, as you come through this, you actually get this narrative easily. Ripple's CBDC private ledger, which is built for issuing currencies, uses the same technology that has powered the ledger for its digital currency XRP. So once you read through this, you actually get another one. Ripple has advocated for the use of its cryptocurrency XRP as a bridge or a vehicle to efficiently use to move from CBDC to CBDC. Now, is it just this one article showing you that? No, you have a lot of them, right? And as you move, you are looking at what's happening right now in this arena. Say digital euro. Is it actually going to be on XRP ledger? There's a lot of speculation on that one. And when you get that from CPA Australia, that's like, okay, they know something. They are insiders for this particular stuff. They know something. They are talking about something. Why? Because you are looking at the entire Eurozone, where, the Digital Pound Foundation in Britain and then Digital Euro Foundation for the Euro area is working. And they're working with Ripple. That's a huge area. And then you go back, okay, what is it actually about? Right? So in this particular stuff, it's actually highlighting this is the neutral bridge asset, which will be used for payments with central bank digital currencies. Now, before we dive deep in, you actually have to understand two stuff. Okay, if central banks decide to come up with a central bank digital currency from their end, this is a possibility. Now, if central banks decide they're going to go with a synthetic central bank digital currency, which is indirect central bank digital currency, that means, say for example, they're going to use USDC as their liability, as their fiat, digital fiat, in that approach. And then they're going to use interoperable network to scale this new money system. Okay, that sound confusing? Just pause and go back to the video where we are actually talking about USDC and Ripple in World Economic Forum. The USDC guy was there, the circle, and the Ripple Brad was there. They were actually talking, and then you get the right idea from circle. If we have access to a company like Brad's, we can scale. That means what they are operating currently on, it's scalable. And they are working fine. But if they have to compete on a different scale, you need to be scalable. On a different scale, what does that mean? Swift. Okay, they are working on the stuff. They are working on to bring up a new system where these central bank digital currencies will work and interoperable. That's key stuff there, right? They're trying to say we have this collaboration where things will work fine, interlink different networks. But again, do you really think with this happening, that will go into play? At least I don't buy into that. If this is an organization which can be shut down like that, I don't think one nation would be happy to go on with another one, because they really need to be on their control, right? They need to keep that infrastructure in their control. So I don't think that's going to happen. And that is one of the reasons why we are now, when I'm looking at this is like, okay, this is coming from the Tether guy, the USDT. And when you actually get that idea from a guy who's inside this arena and he's saying this here, or they know things. It's not just personal opinion like in months, But these are like, guys with brains, not some random guy without any idea. So here you get this. CBDCs are based on the idea that this guy started before. Just the difference there is actually it's for central banks. So it's the liabilities of central bank. CBDC will replace SWIFT, etc. So what you just saw here and my thought process combining with this, okay, these guys also think the same. Banks will accept transfers via CBDCs as any wire. So that does mean like the electronic transfers which you go through the commercial banks or some fintechs now, that's not going to be there. Then CBDCs will settle most of credit card debt flow, especially over the weekend. Why? Because the banks are closed. Yeah, you don't really have to go on to that brick and mortar system. Now, when you take that and move, this comes in. They say like, okay, you don't really need CBDC. You can do something like this. Okay, is it just one region in the world saying, okay, that is possible? No, you literally see the entire world looking at different approaches, and they are coming on to a base saying, okay, this is kind of what we are looking at, right? So one, it should be interoperable. Two, it's a different approach, right? So in this option, which is a synthetic CBDC, so I've actually gone through, I've read through this one where they are talking about this particular model. What model should the United States choose? If they, now this will be speculation from my end. Let me clarify that and start. If they are going for a synthetic CBDC, now I understand why the escrow is still there for XRP. It can be just a conspiracy, but I think if they are going to go for this structure, that actually means a lot, because you go into these and you read through the stuff and you are like, okay, the CBDC ledger could serve only as a very simple record of central bank liabilities, or incorporate most sophisticated functions to synchronize all the payments with the government. The Fed's technology, they don't have a technology right now to do that. So you literally have to go in, look at the required functionalities, and then you come out and say, there's a lot to do, and they don't have the ability to do that. If you look at any such innovation in history, you see it's the private sector coming out with that. So when they are talking about issuing CBDCs, there's a lot of technologies on which they have to work on. So they go through this, they are looking through, okay, what are the main structure which they are looking? Should be convenient, fine, understand. It should be secure and resilient. So you should be looking at something advanced. Then it should be fast and scalable. Okay, fine, we understand that. Then interoperable, fine. So it's not only that particular ledger being interoperable in that domestic environment, it's a CBDC. It should also go through the border. And for that, what is the key? It should be in ISO 20022, right? That is where this one is going to happen. How many networks do you actually know which is currently being tested by the central banks and at this ISO certified? Okay, if you know the answer, you already know where we are going with. Now, why, if they choose this, they have a huge escrow. Now, I don't know how that's going to happen, how that's going to work out legally, but if this happens, it's like, CBDC, synthetic CBDC is not the actual CBDC, but it's a stable coin with a twist. The issuing financial institution would back its stable coin with the reserves at Fed. So either it can be XRP itself, the escrow coming out, but there's a lot of issue for that, because it should be a stable coin. XRP is designed as an appreciating asset. With each transaction, you have a burn rate. So keeping that stable will be really hard. So I think that has like 10% chance, but still, it's 10%. Now the main idea here is, okay, let that be a stable coin like USDC. That goes back to the World Economic Forum, right, where they've talked about this. Okay, now they are going to use this particular asset, and that will be working on a platform where each central banks are going to communicate with each other. So if synthetic CBDC were 100% backed by the reserves at the Fed, it would be a form of so-called narrow banking in contrast of fractional reserve banking. What is the issue of the current banking system? It's the fractional reserve. So they are going to change that system, right? That kind of takes away a lot of power from the current banking system. And that kind of gives a lot of benefits for the normal human being. Do I believe they care about us a lot? Not much, but in future, they're going to actually improve the structure so that, everything looks smooth and works smooth. They don't have major crash like one bank going bankrupt and it kind of hitting the entire economy of different nations where it's connected with, right? So now you have that idea, fine. So then you come on to the World Economic Forum. So they are talking about a privately created digital asset facilitating CBDC. So it kind of go back and connect this one. Okay, they're going to use a stable coin with a twist. What is that twist? It can be XRP, which is a bridge currency. Now this is in the World Economic Forum where they are actually talking about the recommendations for central bank digital currencies. So you go through this and you're like, okay, with respect to the CBDC and stable coins, you get this idea. The narrative is clear there. Then you come on here and you're looking at different approaches from different countries, how they're collaborating to come out with their CBDC. You come here and you're looking like, okay, for a CBDC to maintain balance between being successfully adopted and to avoid the issues, they need to ensure both domestic and cross-border interoperability. And that's where these central banks are really confused whether they are actually going to go for a synthetic one or a hybrid one. Now, synthetic or indirect and then hybrid model. Now, in their hybrid model, it's the central bank issuing the central bank digital currency. But here it's not, there is no room for USDC. They remove USDC and keep the actual CBDC from the government, which is running on an interoperable layer. Whereas the indirect model, it still goes with what we've talked about. A stable coin selected by the government using through that. The central bank will pass the digital currency token to the commercial bank or a non-bank financial institution, fintech, financial technology company, which will then distribute the currency and also handle KYC and AML requirements. So I believe this fintech, which distributes on its network and having all the regulatory side set like KYC, AML, anti-money laundering, know your customer, that kind of stuff, it's going to work well. So the claim for the currency will be on the commercial bank or the financial institution, which is non-financial institution like fintech, not on the central bank. So this is actually kind of proposed by the IMF. Now the next model is the hybrid one, right? So in the hybrid one, it is again giving an advantage for Ripple, the company, and Interledger protocol as a infrastructure for the money to move. So after watching this, you'd be like, okay, I need more detail. It's completely fine. You need more detail, right? We are going to put all these links in the description so you can go through, take your time, read through this, because right now the current affairs also looks really sharp for those who are looking at SEC issues in the court. And you're like, okay, you really understand, like, at least from my point of view, I would say the SEC guys who are inside this case, they are just sleepwalking. They don't even know where they are going and they don't have an argument. Now, imagine that's a governmental institution which is being funded by the taxpayers and they're saying we are protecting the taxpayers, which, if they are really doing that, it wouldn't be like this. On the other side, they are inside a court where the judge has to ask them, okay, is it like this or like this? Is it Hinman's personal opinion or SEC, right? Come on, kind of just segregate both and inform us which one is which. So as this goes like this is going to be bombarding just from the regulatory side of this. So as this drama of SEC comes to an end, you are going to see the adoption or at least the announcements, because now we know that, yeah, they are actually working with big central banks, which Brad himself has told, like, okay, we are working with them, but we haven't announced a lot of that. So you already know the pilot program with Bank of England, and then you already know how they are working with digital Euro Foundation, Digital Dollar Foundation, then Digital Dollar Project, right? Faster Payments Council. So they are in all of these talking with everyone, giving them the narrative. And then you saw all of them coming into the World Economic Forum, and the World Economic Forum, then the Bank of International Settlements giving you this idea. So how many of these network has this ability? I don't see many. Because if you are entering into that one, you are also looking at this, which is the micro transactions. How many of these are ready for micro transactions? How many of them are talking about the micro transactions? So these are like, the layered design approach where you kind of understand, okay, this is happening. Now, this is one of the biggest reason why I believe we are going way higher than 100, but it may take more time. You don't know, right? No one knows. But if this asset is to be used, we are going to come back up. We are going to burst through this one. That is for sure, because even in the last cycle, if you are considering this, you have actually seen days where you are going below the trend line, but eventually you burst back up. Before you go down, you need to erase the supply in the market, right? So if this is the structure you're looking at, and you're like, okay, last time we didn't have all of these information which we went through right now, the market is going to digest all those. If not us, at least someone will actually do that, right? So you take this and you are like, okay, that's going close to $90. That's considering this bottom is this bottom, not this one or anything here. You have a long way to the upside as the market recovers. So people do ask like, okay, do you really believe this market cycle is still a year or too long? Like, I don't have a doubt about that. I know a lot of people are saying this is a bear market, this is a bear market. It's completely up to them. But you look at this and ask this question to yourself. This is an 80% drop, 85% drop. Then the market continues higher. You go to now you have you can literally go to a lot of different assets in this crypto market, which has been there from last cycle. And you notice this 85%, 90% drop over a period of a year, then come back up. Boom, it goes for the next wave. So you see literally one long drop and a correction, then another long drop and a correction. So if you are not watching that right now, you are saying, okay, that's a bear market. Fine, it's completely up to you. But this is where the opportunity lies. If you missed what came in the last wave structure here, the first run up, the same first run up, then you have the chance to get onto the second one. Now it's up to you whether you are going to get onto it or not, but think about this. This is from the bottom. You are actually literally running 80x in last cycle, and here in this cycle you are doing something close 70. So 70x, 80x. Okay, this 85% drop, this is 94. Why 94? You have a lot of newbies entering the market saying, okay, this market is going 1000x. I'll put $100. I'm going to be a millionaire. It doesn't work like that, right? You go through this. When the price is down, they sell, panic. So the youngsters here, they have the issue of, greed and fear. That index, that pendulum just goes like boom. It don't stop in the middle. So that's what we are observing here. When the price goes down, the price gets pushed too hard to the downside. That's a huge opportunity for those who understand the market, those who have patience, those who are learning on a regular basis. So if you are one who is learning on the regular basis, pushing their stuff too much to be a best investor, and you are receiving value here, please do hit that like and subscribe button. And we try to show you guys what's happening and how things are rolling. And if you want to learn that, you can go through these short videos. Now, some of them are 3 to 4 minutes, some of them 7 to 8 minutes, because it demands that explanation. Some of them, you need those explanation, in my opinion. So guys, if you are receiving value, please do again hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. And if you are in this market to make money and you want the updates, alerts, when the price is breaking higher for different assets inside your portfolio, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below, where we literally post charts every day. So you get the updates like these every day. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.